The wagon creaked to a stop outside the ranch just as the sun began to set. Rancher Thomas Wade was feeding his horses when he heard it, a woman's voice, barely above a whisper. "Sir, please. I need help." He turned to see her, thin as a rail, dirt on her face, clutching something wrapped in an old gray blanket. She held it close to her chest like it was the most precious thing in the world. "Ma'am, you all right?" Thomas approached slowly. Her eyes were hollow, distant. "I just need a place for the night. Just one night. Then we'll be gone." He noticed her hands trembling. "We." She looked down at the bundle in her arms. "Please, just don't ask me to remove the cover. Promise me that." Something in her voice made his stomach turn. But Thomas Wade had never turned away a soul in need. "Come inside," he said. "You can rest by the fire." The woman said her name was Margaret. She didn't offer a last name, and Thomas didn't press. She sat by the fireplace, rocking gently, the blanket-wrapped bundle still in her arms. Thomas brought her soup and bread. She ate with one hand, never letting go of the bundle. "You traveling alone?" he asked. "Not alone," she whispered. "Never alone." He glanced at the bundle. "Is that a child?" Her eyes snapped to his, fierce and protective. "Don't. Don't what? Don't ask me to show you. Don't ask me to let go. Please!" The fire crackled between them. Thomas had seen a lot in his 40 years on the frontier. Death, loss, madness. But something about this woman unsettled him in a way he couldn't name. "You running from something?" he asked carefully. She stared into the flames. "From everything." That night she slept in the guest room, still holding the bundle. Thomas lay awake in his own bed, listening to her whisper lullabies through the thin walls, soft, broken, endless. The next morning, Thomas rode into town for supplies. At the general store, old Mr. Callahan leaned over the counter with a grim expression. "Heard you got a visitor out at your place." Thomas frowned. "Word travels fast." "It does when it's her." Callahan's voice dropped. "That woman? She came through here 2 days ago. Wouldn't talk to nobody. Just kept holding that thing and muttering to herself." "What thing?" Callahan shook his head. "Whatever's under that blanket. Some folks say it's a dead baby. Others say it's something worse." Thomas felt a chill run down his spine. "Where'd she come from?" "North. From the burnt settlement near Copper Ridge. There was a sickness there last month. Took half the town. She was one of the few who made it out." "And the bundle?" Callahan's eyes darkened. "No one knows. But people who've tried to look, well, she don't let 'em get close." Thomas rode back to the ranch in silence, his mind racing. When he arrived, Margaret was sitting on the porch, rocking slowly, humming that same lullaby. The bundle lay across her lap, perfectly still. That evening, Thomas couldn't hold back anymore. He sat across from her at the dinner table, watching her eat in silence. "Margaret," he said gently, "I need to know what you're carrying." She stopped chewing. Her hand went to the blanket, protective. "You promised you wouldn't ask." "I didn't promise anything. I just gave you shelter." He leaned forward. "But if you're in danger, or if that's something that could bring harm to this place, I need to know." Her eyes filled with tears. "It's all I have left." "Left of what?" "Of him," her voice cracked. "Of my boy." Thomas felt his chest tighten. "Your son?" She nodded, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. "He was only 3. The sickness took him so fast. One morning he was laughing. By nightfall, he was gone." "I'm sorry," Thomas said softly. "I truly am. But Margaret, you can't keep carrying him like this." "Why not?" she snapped, sudden fire in her voice. "He's mine. He'll always be mine. And if I let him go, if I bury him, then he's really gone. Don't you see?" Thomas didn't know what to say. He'd lost people, too, his wife, his daughter years ago to fever, but he'd buried them. Said goodbye, moved forward even when it tore him apart. Margaret hadn't, and now she was trapped, holding on to death as if it were life. 2 more days passed. Margaret wouldn't leave. She wouldn't speak much either. She just sat on the porch, rocking, holding the bundle. Thomas tried to be patient. He brought her meals, gave her space, but the smell started. Faint at first, then stronger, sweet and sickly, like flowers rotting in the sun. On the 3rd night, Thomas couldn't take it any more. He found her by the fire, asleep in the chair, the bundle resting on her lap. He approached slowly, every step deliberate. His hand reached out, trembling. "Please, don't remove the cover." Her voice was so quiet he almost didn't hear it. She wasn't asleep. She was staring at him, tears streaming silently down her face. "Please," she whispered again, "if you take it off, if you see him like that, then it's real, and I can't make it real." Thomas knelt beside her, his hand still hovering over the blanket. "Margaret," he said, voice breaking, "it's already real, and keeping him like this, it's not love, it's suffering for both of you." She sobbed, her whole body shaking. "I don't know how to let him go." "I'll help you," Thomas said, "but you have to let me see him. You have to face it." After a long, agonizing silence, she nodded. Thomas slowly lifted the edge of the blanket. What he saw beneath made his breath catch. It wasn't a body. It was a small wooden box, carved carefully, lovingly, with a child's name etched into the lid. Samuel, age 3. Inside the box were a few items: a lock of hair, a small toy horse, a pressed flower. Thomas looked up at Margaret, confused. She was crying openly now, her hands covering her face. "I couldn't carry him," she whispered. "He was too heavy. So I buried him near Copper Ridge, under the oak tree where he used to play. But I couldn't leave with nothing. So I took these, the pieces of him I could hold." Thomas felt his own eyes sting with tears. "And you've been carrying this, pretending that he's still with me," she finished, "that I'm still his mother, that I still have a reason to wake up." Thomas set the box down gently and took her hands in his. "You'll always be his mother. That doesn't end when they're gone. But Margaret, you can't live like this. You have to let yourself grieve. Really grieve." She looked at him with such raw pain that it nearly broke him. "How?" she asked. "How do I do that?" "One day at a time," he said. "Starting now." The next morning, they walked to the hill behind the ranch. The sun was just rising, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. Thomas dug a small hole beneath a cottonwood tree. Margaret knelt beside it, holding the box one last time. She pressed it to her chest, closed her eyes, and whispered words only she could hear. Then, slowly, she placed it in the ground. Thomas covered it with earth, then marked the spot with a simple wooden cross. They stood there in silence as the wind rustled through the grass. "He would have liked it here," Margaret said quietly. "He's at peace now," Thomas replied, "and so can you be." She nodded, wiping her eyes. For the first time in weeks, her hands were empty, but her heart, though still heavy, felt just a little bit lighter. Margaret stayed at the ranch for another month. She helped with the chores, cooked meals, mended fences. Slowly, she began to smile again, laugh even. Thomas noticed the change, the way her shoulders didn't slump as much, the way her eyes held a bit more light. One morning, she came to him with a packed bag. "I think it's time," she said. "Where will you go?" "East, to my sister's. I wrote her a letter. She's expecting me." Thomas nodded. "You'll be all right." "I think so," she said. "Because of you." She hugged him, briefly but genuinely. Then she climbed onto the wagon and rode off into the sunrise. Thomas watched her go, standing by the small grave under the cottonwood tree. The wind carried her voice one last time, soft and free. "Goodbye, Samuel. Mama loves you." And for the first time, it sounded like peace. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please consider liking and subscribing for more.